Brand. Have you guys seen what's been going on with Russell Brand? I'm like a little bit annoyed about it. Like, obviously. He's been accused of sexually harassing and R-A, you know, P, another letter at the end. So yeah, there's like 4 women that have come forward so far, and apparently he was to work with. He was possessive and like no, I don't know if it was violent or angry or kind of rude. He was like nasty to work with, manipulative, but yeah, and he was hurting women. There was a Channel 4, which is a English channel, obviously, a Channel 4 TV show about it. Apparently, it's been going on for years. So, for example, I've literally just searched his name, and it says he sent cars to pick schoolgirl up for visits as comedian's father lashes out. A woman who was allegedly in an abusive relationship with Russell Brand when she was aged 16 has claimed that the BBC cars collected her from school to meet the comedian. She claimed that she was taken twice to the organisation's chauffeur-driven cars and that Brand's management had suggested they pretend she was his goddaughter. The BBC and Channel 4 have pledged to investigate the claims made about the former presenter after he was accused of the R word, sexual assaults and emotionally abusing 4 women between 2006 and 2013. It's removed all programmes linked to Brand from its website. The 48-year-old has denied the very serious and criminal allegations and said his relationship were absolutely always consensual. His father also jumped to his defence and described the allegations as a vendetta. So yeah, he's denying it. But yeah, so who knows if it's true or not. 8 hours ago, more women come forward. He denies all allegations against him. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's hard to know because, unfortunately, where he's famous, we're all going to think the worst. Look at Johnny Depp, right? He's a really, really, really good example. So, obviously, if Russell Brand did this stuff, then, like, lock him up, like, the whole shebang, do you know what I mean? Obviously. However, it's so easy to jump on a bandwagon because he's famous, so it would make sense that he could do these things and get away with them. But it's also so easy, look at Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, for a woman to be like, oh, he did this to me, and then it turns out, actually, no, you did all that to him. Like, do you know what I mean? So if I hadn't have watched the Johnny Depp trial the whole way through, I'd probably be sat here saying, oh my God, have you heard what Russell Brand's been up to, blah, 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 blah. But because I watched the Johnny Depp trial, I'm instantly a bit more like, oh, like, do you know what I mean? There was also something to do with, what's his name? He's in OTK, the streamer. Is it Rich? I think. Asmongold's, like, lifelong friend. And he had a girl who he was basically booty calling, and she claimed that he did some awful things to her, right? Awful things. But her story made no sense, and there were so many holes in her story. Like, she said how he made her go see him, but then she was the one who went to go see him, and then he made her sit in the chair, but she didn't say anything about restraints or anything like that, whilst he pleasured himself. And then they were in bed, and he, like, finished himself off in her because he came up behind her in bed. It's like, well, why were you naked? At no point does she mention how she got in the bed. She doesn't mention why she got undressed, when she said when she was sat in the chair, not restrained, she already felt like he was doing something wrong, blah, blah, blah. But then she got in the bed with him. And anyway, it ruined Rich's reputation. Now, I don't know how this actually turned out in the end, whether it turns out that he did these things. I think he was just an arsehole, a bad guy, not a bad guy, but just kind of like, you know, he was booty calling her and she was willing to be the booty call. And it happens. I booty call people and then dropped them because I wasn't interested. Doesn't make them a sexual assaulter. It makes them a douchebag boyfriend. Do you know what I mean? Completely different. And she basically made out that he sort of R-A-P, her. So, I don't know, these kind of things with this Russell Brand thing, I'm quite skeptical to believe the women until I see evidence. Because, yeah, exactly. There was another guy called Josh, I think his name was. I could have the name wrong. Who was kind of manipulated, and the girl was sharing all these screenshots of these conversations, but they were all edited in a way that was in her favour. And when he displayed his side of it, he put everything out there, whereas she was only putting some stuff, but it ruined his reputation and his career as well. There was another one, oh God, who was it? Oh, that's it. What's that celebrity? He was he in 21 Jump Street or something? And Jonas, I think his name was. And some ex-girlfriend tried to make out that he was this vile, nasty person. She was like some model or something. And she was like sharing screenshots of these conversations about her to try and show that he was like this manipulator and abuser and blah, 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 blah. And then when he shared his half of the conversation, you could see that he was like trying to be nice to her. Basically, she was just bitter from a bad breakup and all of this nasty stuff. And it's like, I just don't believe. I think it's so easy. So this is maybe a really anti-feminist thing to say. I think it's so easy for a woman to call a guy, no worries, Shadesy, to call a guy a bad person and say they did this and they did that to them. And because they're the woman, we instantly believe them before the guy. Now, I'm not saying there aren't guys that do this, but there are girls that do this too. Yet our natural instinct is to believe the girl. So this Jonas guy, this rich guy, Johnny Depp, they all had their careers tarnished because some woman was bitter because they broke up with them. Obviously, I don't know how the rich one played out. So, but definitely Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and definitely Jonas and his model ex-girlfriend. I think that's his name. It's going to be really awkward. That's not his name. So with the Johnny Depp, not Johnny Depp, with the Russell Brand thing, it might be true, but it could just be a couple of girls saying something bad, and it's easy to jump on the bandwagon. And there are a lot of nasty money grabbing people out there that you just can't believe it when it's a famous person. Can't believe it when it's a non-famous person. When it's a famous person, you absolutely cannot believe it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously if he did do it, then I'll change my tune. But this is what I said the whole way through Johnny Depp. I was like until I see something that shows that he did, I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon of rah against him just because some people said that he did. I think until it's gone to court, then it should have been the media. Yeah, exactly, Roz. Like, completely. Obviously, there's times that the system doesn't work, but not having the system at all won't work. So, I don't know. I think they deserve, what's the word? To be sort of anonymous other than within the case. Do you know what I mean? Until it goes to court, like you said, and then they've already gathered all the evidence and stuff like that. I don't think they should be able to publicly say in the newspaper, he is a R word, because it means that anybody who does want to just sort of get their unjust credit, they're going to be able to jump out and make it so much worse. He can't defend himself more because he's in the newspaper, but more people that don't like him can go on his case because he's in the newspaper. It's only ever going to be bad for him. What if he's innocent? What if he's just a bad boyfriend? Like I said, what if he's innocent and it ruins his life? What if he becomes suicidal and he's innocent? If he is not innocent, could ruin her career? Probably not, because she's the woman. Even Amber Heard still has a career, and it was proved that she made it all up. Do you know what I mean? Just, if he is a bad person and he did these things, that's obviously bad. But I don't think that it should be put in the public eye until they've gathered all their evidence, until they have privately contacted every woman that he's been in touch with. Put it quiet. I think that they should, innocent until proven guilty. And I think that it should absolutely be kept private in case he's innocent. In case he just has a psycho ex-girlfriend who's off on one at him. Do you know what I mean? And also, I would like to put out there, I'm not some meek little girl who's never had... I'm not going to go into any details at all. At all. But I am not some meek girl who's never had a guy do bad things to her. So, it's not like I'm over here oblivious, blah, 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 and therefore I'm like, well, what... Like, people are like, well, what does she know? She's never gone through anything. Like, I have. I just don't talk about it, obviously. But yeah, I'm just like, I don't think it's right that it should be in the newspaper, especially when society favours the woman. Some men and women are just assholes. Exactly. He might have just been a prick. Like, do you know what I mean? He might have just been a twat. And there's nothing criminal about being a twat. Just don't associate with the twat. Do you know what I mean? He can't just assume, because he's famous and he technically has the ability to, and because he might not be the best person in the world, that he is guilty. Until the evidence, oh my God, I got really itchy nose. Until the evidence says so. Like I said, if he did do it, then I hope he gets all the punishment he could possibly get. And I kind of wish he was in an American state that had a certain kind of penalty. But, like I said, what if he's not? I'm going to be so fucking angry if he didn't do it and these women just lied. Because I think there needs to be a much more severe punishment for when they prove that they're liars. Do you know what I mean? Like when Amber Heard was proved to be exaggerating and making it up and blah, 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 I think she should have had prison time for doing it. And I do. And I know that that's quite a controversial opinion, because it will stop certain victims coming forward in case they can't prove it. But I'm not talking not being able to prove he's guilty. I'm talking being able to prove that they lied, that she lied, or he lied, whoever it is. Obviously, in this case, it's woman going to man. But I do think that there should be prison time for anybody who is proved to be lying. I think the punishment for wasted police, someone ruining a reputation is exactly, and I think it should be massive. I think if a guy is going to get 20 years for RAP, blah, 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 I think that if someone's going to get 20 years, I think that the person should get 10 years at least for lying about it. Because it's so fucking serious. It is so serious to say that he did that to you. You ruined his life. You ruined his family's life. Not only is he possibly going to go to prison for 20 years or whatever, I don't know what it is. He might go to prison for it. He might commit suicide because of it. If he has a child, or if he has a sister or a cousin, they are going to get shunned for the rest of their life because they are now associated with this person. If my brother was this awful person and he did that, I would be the sister of a RAP. Do you know what I mean? And my children would be the nieces and nephews of it. Like, you are wasting taxpayers' money. What if there's now a crime somewhere else, a real crime that is legit, a murderer who the evidence now can't get to in time because the police are so busy wasting their time with this invalid case because some girl got her panties in a bunch because her boyfriend broke up with her, and it's messing with all these others because there's only so much time and resource and funding that the police get. I think it's huge. I think it's massive, and I think they absolutely... Oh, look, even the music wants me to tell my story without any noise in the background. I think that anybody who is proven to be falsely accusing, I think should end up with massive jail time for it. I think it is insane that they can get away with it, that they can lie about it. Like, I think every person who is accused of that awful crime, I think once they get proven innocent, I think they should immediately turn the case back to defamation type thing, and it should be massive and serious and prove that they did it wrong, and then they should get time. I think Amber Heard should have gone to prison for her lies against Johnny Depp. I think, like, oh my God. I'm so like this whole culture where, unfortunately, I know that people did commit this crime and it causes culture, but you always get your horrible jumper honors who jump on any bandwagon and will manipulate it. And not only that, real people, like people who really went through this, it belittles, thank you for the follow, it belittles them. So if you've got Susie, who is a real victim of SA, and then you've got Rosie, who's lying, when Susie comes forward, people are going to instantly think, well, is she lying too? It's so damaging in so many different ways. Like, it's awful. It's awful. Like the fact that, let's say for argument's sake, these victims of Russell Brand, if they are in fact real victims, the fact that I immediately went, yeah, but maybe they're lying like Amber Heard did. That's the damage that Amber Heard did. That if they are genuine victims, instantly they are doubted because of the liars. And then if they are liars, like, they're further on down the line. Other women or men will be doubted for it. It's absolutely, it's sickening that they don't get more punished. If they get proven guilty, then the book should be thrown at them. Yes. Like, and I know that it sucks for SA victims who don't have a lot of evidence, but then that wouldn't prove that they are lying. That wouldn't be able to prove that he's guilty. Do you know what I mean? Because if they are lying, they'll be able to find evidence of that. If they're not lying, there will be no evidence that they lied. So they're still safe. I don't think you should be able to throw around any accusations like that. I don't think you should be able to throw around any accusations like that without possible repercussions happening if it could be proven that you're lying. Do you know what I mean? I hope that he's innocent. One, because then it means that no girl actually suffered at his hand, obviously. Like, I don't want him to be guilty, and then it means that those girls actually went through that. Two, because I don't really want, like, I don't want another criminal out there like that. Three, I like Russell Brand. He will be taking a hit everywhere because of this, but I do hope that it's not true. I really do, because I don't want it to be true. But I do hate to think that some women out there are just okay with doing that. But we know that there are. It's sickening that they can tell lies in such a big, like, gravity of it, and then it like be okay when it's like proof that they're lying. Like, do you know what I mean? When we're kids, we're taught that we're punished if we lie. Like, that should carry on into adulthood. I don't really understand why you become an adult and you're suddenly allowed to lie.